Okay, so I'm on here just a couple minutes because I'm fixing to have to scoot out and actually try to deliver an item, meet a woman that bought a beaver hoop off David. And going by myself. It's the first time I've taken myself anywhere in a long time. So y'all pray for me. I'm feeling good enough today. I think I can hack it, so I'm going to try it, and I don't really have to do anything other than meet her and go, here's your beaver hoop, and come back to the house. I'm trying it. But I tell you what, I was feeling so extremely judicious this morning. So extremely educationally judicious this morning. I'm twanging because I'm irritated, but I'm also twanging because this is funnier than heck. Because every time I talk to you about where you put your energy or how you allow your energy to define you, or to always think of 2 or 3 or 4 perspectives before you speak, I do that too, okay? So when Ryan posts a video where he states he feels that he has been defamed, slandered, or had someone that he can go after for those reasons, okay. You have if you feel you have been defamed or slandered, you have every reason to go after somebody that does that to you. You have every right to take advantage of our judicial system, file the paperwork, get you an attorney to represent you, and take your information and evidence in front of a judge to have him go, yes or no. I will support this or I will not. You have a case or you do not. Okay? It's really that simple. So when I say, yes, Ryan, boundaries are great. You deserve to have boundaries just like everyone else. And I was like, I've been praying for you. Oh, sadly, most people think boundaries only go one way. No, they go both, because both people have rights that must be protected by a court of law when they feel something has been violated. I've been praying for you every day. I pray for lots of people every day. Now, do I always agree with Ryan? No, I'm not a dog tick on his butt. He knows that. He knows that. But I try to be well-rounded and have a reasonable expression when I choose to engage. And I meant every word I said. He has every right to boundaries, just like everyone else. Sadly, people think they only go one way. In those 3 statements, where did I limit the rights of anyone else? Oh, I'm hearing the wind whistle through the trees, or is it through y'all's ears? I've never in my life seen such a vacuous group of irritated, hateful people. I don't know. Sex Offender Registration Day is quite the spectacle too. And I've seen that firsthand. Yeah. Well, we wear gloves when we put on and take off the ankle bracelets. You know, the little GPS pingers. Malay gets in them little suckers. It's nasty. Okay. So obviously I've spent well over a decade in corrections. Beyond that, if you take the time that I was in boot camp counseling and counseling kids in state custody because they were there for trauma, addiction, violence issues, stuff like that. I've seen a lot of court days. I've had to sit through a lot of trials that I did not want to sit through because they don't normally have like a special procedure to the docket. They tell you what's going to be heard that day if they get through it all, and your butt just has to be there for when the judge decides to call whatever case he wants to hear. So I've sat there sometimes for 14, 15 hours. Oh, and heard every docket and waited for my chance to prosecute supervision violations. And have gone to prisons and had to sit and wait while the parole hearings official heard her entire parole docket for revocations. I've sat through so much court time that literally I think I should probably get a kickback from this nation because I've had to listen to everybody's grievances across this goddamn land. Like, you should get a kickback for that, because I've had to sit through a lot of squabbles that were not mine to have to deal with, but I had to be in there and deal with them. And 9 times out of 10, I got sent for paperwork, or to run some paperwork, or to grab some other material required. I got used as an extra court clerk because I was there and I was a state employee for the Department of Corrections, but I was also an extension of the criminal court. So I got used. Didn't mind it. Very good judge, very well demeanored, even killed judge. So, you know, whatever he needed, I was there to help. But that means I've made quite a bit of time in court. And I've taken quite a bit of law classes. And yeah, things change from time to time, but I'm pretty sure that my original statement to Ryan, which he pinned and liked because he understood I was giving everyone an avenue to go after their rights. Everyone. He liked it, bend it, because he could see what I was doing. I was saying you're as important as everybody else, and everybody else is as important as you. And what works for them works for you, and what works for you works for them. And you can go to court and handle it. Boundaries are a great thing. A nation of rules and law is a great thing. We don't have that anymore, do we? We have a nation of emotional hijackers. Hello, I am your stewardess. Today you will be flying American Emotions Airways. Please take a seat. Put your head between your legs and kiss your butt goodbye, because nobody here knows what they're doing. We may get to our destination, or we may end up somewhere else in a discussion we should not be having, because we're not trained professionals. Now here we are. We landed on the island of me, and everybody has an issue. Oh, so fun. I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in the people that read my responses on that and try to have a beef with me, because I was trying to give a nod to everyone so that everyone that read my response had to read something that applied to everyone in this scenario, which I said, no one can complain about Ryan unless it's the person that feels they have been defamed or slandered, and they have the same rights that he does, but only they can go after him in a court of law. YouTube is not a court of law. It's much more difficult to go for defamation or slander or libel charge if you're a public figure, because you don't have the same extension of rights that a private citizen does. And becoming a public figure is not your decision. It can be the media's decision. It can be the judge can blame it on your behavior that you didn't think through. There's a plethora of ways that you become a public figure without wanting to be one. So that augments what the judge can look at, what he can do, the extension of grace he can give you under the law, and whether you're going to get a good response that day or not in court. But everyone has the ability to take these cases, present their evidence, and go before a judge. Only the Rodney family can go after Ryan if they feel Ryan has violated them in some way. So everyone screaming on YouTube that he's done such horrible, horrific things to the Rodney family, you have the right to your opinion, but you cannot slap the gavel and make him guilty. No, only a judge can do that. And the family has to be the people to take that, to go to court with it. You can't do it in their stead. And trying to do it on YouTube, we don't practice law on YouTube. We don't. I try to be educational, and I try to be well-rounded, and I try to offer everyone their perspective so they can see, oh, that's how it applies to them. Oh, and that's how it applies to me. Oh, I get it. I get it. She was saying everybody deserves these boundaries. Yeah. But that's not what happened. Most people read that and said, she's sticking up for Ryan Upchurch. No. I told Ryan he's just as important as everyone else on this planet. And he is. He's just as important and precious as everyone else on this planet. And while I personally am happy that a young 31-year-old sees the news about young people going missing and wants to know what's happening in this void where we're not getting any information, what's in there? Because there's something important in there. I think that's great. Now, do I think sometimes he goes a little too far? Personally, yeah, he goes places I wouldn't go verbally. But as I stated in my response, the boy can afford a dang good attorney. He has a little bit more looseness with his words than most people on this planet. It affords him a bit more grace because he can get a better suit in that courtroom with him, if you get my drift, okay? Because while we are a nation of law and order, we also are a nation of capitalist, and we've learned how to make money out of our justice system, which is sad. It's sad, but here we are. Here we are. And I sit here and I think, why have we turned it into a money racketeering issue? But then when I read the responses of most of the citizens in this nation, and they don't understand such simple, bifurcated issues as public figure and personal citizen, slander, defamation, libel, I get it. I get it. Because we're not educating or making points. No. The justice system probably has to deal with just as much stupidity, which the cases I watched, I think I only saw one defamation suit actually be slapped on and been like, yep, you want it, bub. Because it's so hard to prove that someone has defamed you to the level where it's going to cause you long-term mental, emotional, or financial harm. Especially if you're a public figure. Did you know that even public figures, HIPAA doesn't apply in certain ways? Oh, yeah. Do you know that in England, it doesn't almost apply at all? Oh, I mean, you can almost say anything about anyone in England if they're a public figure. There ain't crap they can do about it. Their laws are even more rigid. They're like, we don't freaking care. You have every right to say that. Go on. Kind of makes you think, because we're supposed to be like the nation of free speech, right? What happened there? Emotions. People that can't think beyond the tip of this. People that can't go and look on justy.com and look for old court cases for defamation, slander, libel, and get a factual, oh, that one went through, that one didn't through. It looks like judges err on the side of this caution, or look for cases that have this. They can't go and find a conditioned response in our justice system through court records. They just regurgitate their emotions. I thought we were smarter than this. But now I have to say, for the last 3 years, I've realized some of us are worse than coonhounds in a sofa well. We don't know which way the Centro went because it doesn't work no more. But we should have enough up here to say, before I respond, since I have no working knowledge in this component, I might want to do some research. And I might, rather than Google just for words, look for peer-reviewed studies, journals, or actual dockets from the state I'm in to see how defamation tends to sway. Oh, that's so logical. That's so logical. So logical. And I might want to understand how being a multi-state media super case might affect a judge's decisions. How having the freedom of speech to have working theories, concerns, and opinions about this would play into it and play into how words may be seen in the court. And to understand that they also have to prove damages. That's a hefty burden. And whoever says they slandered me is going to have to prove that heavy burden. And that's why many of the cases never go anywhere. That's why it's such a difficult thing to prove. That's why a nation that has more freedom of speech, people can have more opinions, more options about how they choose to express themselves, more concern about a story that's in the public eye. But there's also the big component of when you place yourself voluntarily on public domain and you initiate contact with somebody, multiple times initiate contact, admittedly troll people, admittedly tell lies to get their attention. The judge is going to look at that and go, oh, you're just as guilty as everyone else because you were giving false information to keep that person intrigued and coming back. You can't throw the yarn ball at the cat, fish it back in, and be like, the cat ran at me. Of course. You trailed him right in. The judge is going to look at that component as well, on both sides. I think I was very judicious. And I really hope that the younger generation out there, I mean, I'm not that old. I just turned 44, okay? BT dubs, I have the same birthday as Ryan. I'm a May 24th baby. So maybe that's why I understand how his mind works. Maybe we have this Gemini, I don't think, going on. But he does respect a well-rounded opinion and a well-stated response. And he understands what I said. That's why Penn didn't like it. We're all supposed to be equally important, which means we all have these laws that look out for us. Just because he's a celebrity, yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult for him to prove that people can really be mean to him, but he still has boundaries that he can apply. And I don't know how much easier or clearer I could have stated that. But I would heavily recommend everyone look at their state law, look at your state's annotated code for defamation, slander, and libel. Make sure that you look at it from multiple levels of court. Make sure that you look at civil suits. Make sure that you get a well-rounded opinion about how people can go and take care of business if they feel they've been violated in some way. Because we obviously have a very big void of knowledge in the area for people that seem to be on these true crime channels, just eating it all up. And if you're so emotionally attached that someone that gives such a neutral and well-rounded response irritates you, you may need to step away from the case. Because when emotions get involved, normally that's when true investigation, true questions, or true concern or neutral interest drops away, and we start to get emotionally invested, and it creates a very negative path to where words have different meanings. They hit us the wrong way, and we can't really function or think in a cognitive manner that is conducive to a true crime community. You have to really be emotionally detached. So, I mean, we've got so much to learn in this nation, and it's because we've had such gimmies to the last couple of generations that they've not had to put anything in here. It's just been handed to them. And they've not had to learn to apply knowledge or to go seek out knowledge they don't have. They think they can Google everything. Google will lie to you repeatedly. Google will tell you, you can find anything you want to say. You can word it a certain way. Google will find it for you to supplement your ego and make you feel good. That's why I'm saying peer-reviewed journals. Go look at state cases that have been won, why they have been won, how the law was applied. Get to know how your state functions. Get to know how your local area functions. Heck, go talk to your local circuit court clerk. Ask them. How many defamation suits do we normally have filed in this area in a year? How do they normally go? Which way does it normally lean? Do many go through? Or are they normally dismissed? Ask them to print you off a couple of examples. It's public information. Go for it. But I will say, here's one thing I will caution to everyone who goes after someone in court. When you go after someone in court, and you don't have true motive, true evidence, you just have an emotional bias, you will be laid bare for all to see. And everything that passes in that court docket will be public domain, which means they can go get a copy of it. Anyone, your great Aunt Thelma, your neighbor that you hate, your cousin from 10 years ago that still holds a grudge, or your ex-girlfriend that's just waiting for dirt. You will be laid bare. And your life will become public knowledge. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would rather recommend learning how to speak, staying in those gray areas where opinion and personal beliefs give you a little leg up. Normally when I have to say anything unbecoming, I try to 3 times at least remind you all that it is my feelings, my personal belief, just my opinion, or that it has not been found guilty. This is just alleged material. You have to really pack those words in there. because a judge can still say, oh, yeah, but you then made $17,000 off of this story that you peddled. Yeah, you said some words that were good, but you peddled the wrong emotions, and you were obviously fishing for a supportive base to push this in a certain way and create a certain response, which thus created long-term harm financially to someone in X way. Now, if anybody can prove that, they're welcome to prove it. Ryan or anyone else, as I said, boundaries are great things. He should have them just like everyone else. It's sad that some people think they only go one way. If you're somebody that thought that was catering to one side's ego, you need a grammar lesson and a long sit down with a lot of books. Because you're a few fries short of a Happy Meal if you think that was implied bias to any side. And that's your lesson for today. People are stupid. A nation that is composed of stupid people will eventually become a stupid nation. And it will begin to resemble the United States of freaking America, where emotions are facts and facts are crap. It's how you feel. And as long as you can make others feel that, you can make a buck. Good luck, Ron. Lord have mercy. And if you get what I said in the title up there, thank God you got a brain cell. Hey, come join my family. You'll like it over here. Bye, guys.